Hi, all. Good to see you all again. The title of today's podcast is Taking the Next Step. And before we take the next step, what we need to do is re emphasize where we've been and what this is all about. The mere fact that you are there looking in says that you wish to weigh less. You're looking for a methodology that works, and that you've been vacillating back and forth and have never truly been successful. This week, I've done a lot of exploring. And one of the things that I find is that everybody has a reason, and there are big mysteries. If you had been successful, short term, long term, you wouldn't be here. And I've come to the conclusion, as I did when I was a full-time psychologist, that you have all of the answers, but those answers are hidden within you. And once you address them, major changes in your life are not necessary because everything else falls into place. Now let's start from the beginning. Weight loss, like anything else, is a personal decision. And the moment you make that decision, I wish to lose weight, I wish to weigh less, you also make a second decision. And if we don't repeat to ourselves, what's going to happen is history is going to repeat. And one of the things that I find is people, particularly today, in today's environment, I want it now. I don't want to hear anything. Get it over and done with, and that's it. Think about how many times you have said, I want to weigh less. And here you are saying the same thing. I have tried to move you off that center. And what I've said to you, if you understand what is truly going on, and if you see yourself as an adult who says, I want to weigh less, that's all we need. But you have to mean it. There is no magic. There is a formula. And if you apply the formula, it works. One of the things that I said to you last week or the week before is that around Christmas time in Florida, I noticed I had let myself go. I knew I was coming north and I'd be seeing patients up here. And I didn't want people to recognize that I had put on some weight. I also had time and I didn't want to do the program. I wanted to weigh less, but I didn't want to do the program. Instead, I chose a modified program called the Flex program. The exciting thing is December to January, January to February, February to March, March to April, April to May. In 5 months, doing a modified program with intent, I lost 42 pounds. That's an average of 8 pounds a month. It's not the 15 pounds that we promise, but I was not mentally prepared to do the program. But I did want to come before you and say, you've made a decision. Let's recognize that all diets are temporary. Let me repeat that. All diets are temporary. So what we're left with is why you and I are together right now. Now, very quickly, if you forget, if you ignore the basic principles, you're not going to succeed because it requires change. The moment you say, I want to lose weight, you also acknowledge that you have to change. And if you don't want to hear what I have to say, then you're not going to learn anything. Because one of the things that I know for certain, based upon my years as a psychologist, psychotherapist, social worker, and weight loss doctor, is if you don't do it again and again and again and learn what you're doing and be able to apply it and not constantly fight with yourself, then you're not going to succeed. Weight loss, like anything else, can be done successfully, but you have to be the center of your world. What I've also said, and this is important, the habit patterns that you have developed over a lifetime are not conscious. And more often than not, they're not logical. And so you're doing things over and over again, being frustrated because the basic premise of you being the center of the world, your world, is the key. Now, we've learned a lot, but if you're not willing to listen and apply, and when I say listen, I don't necessarily mean, can I hear you? Am I paying attention and applying that to myself? all weight loss, all diets have a process. I believe in this process because we've been in business for 25 years. We've seen thousands and thousands of patients. We've seen them get well. We've seen them get off medication. We've seen them learn to take care of themselves. They've maintained their weight. They are healthier. And this is critically important, they have created a personal lifestyle that they've decided that they can live with because it's their choice. We're teaching them how to do it their way. We've taught them how to modify because life changes. And dieting has gone out of their lives, and their lifestyles have changed. And that's what we are all about right now. Let's understand something else as well. You cannot live without food. Food is going to be an issue all of your life. What you eat is less important than how you eat. But let's also understand how we began so that we can address it in the present with the underpinning, the core of where we started. I'm going to assume, and you're going to let me get away with it, that you were a full-term baby. You lived inside your mother, and had you been birthed in the 7th month, you would have survived. You hung out for an extra 2 months, the 8th and 9th month, to get bigger and stronger. But had you been birthed in the 7th month, you would have survived. So I'm going to say, since you would have survived, inside you there was some kind of, let's call it, sensing mechanism. I don't want to define it. Came the 9th month, your mother went to the hospital. She popped you out. Step number 1. While you were inside that womb, that mother did everything for you. You did nothing for yourself. She ate for you. She eliminated for you. She breathed for you. She did everything. And when you popped out, you went from 100% being taken care of to 0. And I'm going to say, because there was some sensing mechanism, that's pretty scary, going from totally being taken care of to now got to take care of yourself. And how can this entity that has just been birthed, how can it take care of itself? Well, nature gave it a survival mechanism. Crying. That baby can cry. And that crying caused you to pay attention if you were the parent and took care of the baby. The mother was exhausted. She took a nap. They washed and wrapped the baby. They took the baby away. A couple hours later, the baby came back. Let's say it's normal. The mother looked, ooh, I'm so happy having a baby here. And that baby began to fuss. And what did the mother do? She fed it. She comforted it. So within the first few hours of life, you were traumatized, and that trauma was addressed by food. So food and comfort entered your life within the first few hours that you were outside the womb. Now, if you're going to tell me that's no big deal, be my guest. I'm saying we're all going to have to address that. But if you're conscious of where we go from here, we can change everything. Now, number 2, birth trauma, food comfort. Here we are today. Those of you who've heard me in the past have heard me say 75% of people have an issue, 25% won't. Let's eliminate the 25%. You're one of the 75%. You have developed habits over your lifetime, and those habits are not conscious. They're automatic. And food and comfort has been an issue. So that stress and pressure and issues and food and comfort as an underpinning for everything. That underpinning is not going to go away. You've got to learn to deal with it. But it's difficult because the unconscious remembers that food and comfort come together. So whether it's stress, whether it's anxiety, whether it's fear, whether it's discomfort, food is going to be a major product. Now, that's over there. Now, let's come here. We have a program that works. And how do we know it works? Because I've been in business, and we're only talking about AccuWeight, AccuLife for over 25 years. And I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if the program didn't work. So let's not talk about the program. Let's talk about you. You persist and persist and persist in doing things. And one of the realities is, and people don't think about it, is that you do it again and again and again, hoping it will work, and have developed over a lifetime an unconscious, which means not in your conscious awareness, patterns of behavior, and one of which, because you're sitting here listening to me, is you haven't succeeded, you've failed. So here you are sitting here, but in that unconscious, and that's why we're sitting here, you've had to come to grips with the stresses and pressures, and unconsciously you expect to fail. And what you perceive is a great part of the problem. So the first thing that we have to do is recognize one of two things. When you're stressed, when you're anxious, when you're fearful, when you're annoyed, when you're bored, I can go on. All of those kinds of things are uncomfortable. And you learned within the first few hours of your life that you can comfort yourself with food. And what I just said is never going to go away. So you have to pay attention. And we'll get to the next step very soon, but let's keep putting the pieces together. I had a woman come into the office this morning. She had been away on vacation for a week and a half, so I haven't seen her in 2 weeks. She put on 10 pounds. Now, stop, be logical, and let me ask question number one. I said to her, did you enjoy your vacation? She said, I put on 10 pounds. I said, I didn't ask you that. Did you enjoy your vacation? Well, how could I say I enjoyed my vacation when I put on 10 pounds? Do you already hear what's happening? The reality of life is being ignored. No insight. Finally, I got her to say, I had a terrific vacation. I can't tell you, it was lovely. But, now already we got a problem. And I said, what's the but? If you had not done what you have done, would you have said how wonderful your vacation is? She said, sure. It was a wonderful vacation. I said, stop. Then since you had a wonderful vacation, do you regret? She said, no, the only thing I regret is that I put on 10 pounds. And I said, okay, since that's the only issue, let's take off the 10 pounds. She said, but, I said, stop. First and foremost, do you think all of that 10 pounds is from indulging? And she says, no, I feel bloated. So I guess a good part of it is water. I said, great, then let's get rid of the water and let's get back on the program. And I'll bet you those 10 pounds come off within 2 weeks. One condition. She said, what's that? Be committed. Do what you have to do. Now, the program is not the issue. The mind is the issue. And I said to you, it's not your fault. Let's try to stop assigning blame. This is something manageable, and we can do it in 3 stages. Stage number 1 is the weight loss part of the program. And you either do it or you don't do it. When you came here, you said, I'm going to do it, and therefore you also committed to make changes. If you don't make changes, the results are going to be the same. I'll say it again. If you don't make changes, you're not going to achieve success because the same reasons that brought you here are going to remain. Therefore, we're doing the program. Simplistically, the program promises you, let's not get into the chemistry, 15 pounds, only fat, every approximate 30 days in total health. I've been saying this now for over 25 years, and I haven't heard anyone come to me and say, "You're full of it. It doesn't work." And no one has come to me in 25 years and said, unless they had allergies or a food sensitivity that was undiagnosed, the program is unhealthy. They've made comments, they've criticized, and my answer is always the same. You lost 15 pounds minimum in 30 days. What's the problem? Well, people tell me it's not healthy. People tell me this, people tell me that. And I say, yes, I'm here, you're here. Tell me that what I just said is not accurate. So what we're doing is going away from the program now and going to your head. The issues here are in your head. And why are the issues in your head? It's very simple. Yes, you have taken in more calories than you expended. I'll grant you that. But the real reason that you're here is that all of the stresses of your life, and they become patterns of behavior, we call them habits. Those habits don't bring you to a point where your weight is under control, because those habits comfort you. Now, it's possible that I could put you in psychotherapy for 3, 4, 5 years, and we would pick up all of the triggers, and you would learn how to deal with those triggers, and you would have not lost anything. Whereas now what I'm saying is, here you are, you and I together, and if we do certain things, you can have what you like. And we don't have to do any psychotherapy. Now, what are the things that you have to do? First and foremost, stop, go inside your head, accept the fact that there are all kinds of things out there. Let's call them food. And all of those food things out there tempt you and comfort you. And when you hear that voice that says, "I want," it's a real voice. It's not an hallucination. And that voice says, "I want." Now let's pay attention. The voice is not an hallucination, and the voice says, "I want." How do you feel when you're ignored? Well, that's how the voice feels. What are you ignoring me? And that voice says, "I want, I want, I want, I want." And you get exhausted from hearing that voice, and you break down and you compromise and you give in. And then there's guilt and remorse, and we go through all this stuff. Now, question number one. Don't tell me you don't want that temptation. Right now, speak the truth. If you had that temptation right now, you would feel good. Number two, if you had that temptation and it would feel good, would you have any guilt or remorse because of the fact that you set a goal to weigh less? And I'll bet you the answer is yes, I'd have guilt and remorse. Okay? So the guilt and remorse and the temptation are there because you've developed habits over a lifetime that lead towards that. But it doesn't change the fact that that voice, that real voice, it's not an hallucination, is a part of you that says, I want, and whatever the habit is. Now, here's what I'm saying. Pay attention. The voice said, I want. The voice said, I want. The voice said, I want. Well, stop bothering me. It says, I want. What should I do? The answer is, pay attention. In my description, did I tell you what the I want means? No. So let's retrain that voice. The voice says, I want. Let's give it. Well, how can I do that? The answer is, and the one I prefer to use all the time, is the magic protocol. It's like training a child. Once I give it again and again and again, we're meeting the need of I want, but we're changing the habit and we're not doing anything that has a downside to it. Because the moment you start the magic protocol, you take back control. It's very simple because the flavor filling your mouth will contaminate the flavor of whatever else you put in your mouth, and you will be unable to. And since there are no calories in the downside, you could do it 40 times a day, retraining your brain that you're paying attention. It's learning a new methodology. And let's add a piece. I will bet you that you're not happy that you didn't have to cheat, but I'll bet you that after a week or two, it feels darn good to have taken back control, to realize that you don't have to deal with the vacillation. Should I not? Only a little bit. I'll do it this way. I won't say this. I'll do it this way. Hi, Yvonne. Yvonne is on board, everybody, so I'm going to say hello to her. Now, so number one, take control. Be proud of yourself. Number two, are you worth it? You sat here, you came in, you said, I want to lose weight. Okay. Point number one, stop trying to justify what you want. You're the boss. And what I find constantly are excuses and statements to justify what it is that you want. There is no reason whatsoever Could there be reasons? I'm not going to argue that. I'm saying that once you say, I want to go in a car versus walk, you don't have to justify why you want to use a car. But so many of you are into the process of justifying what it is that they want. So they've already got a conflict. What are my friends going to think? Complain. And we go through this whole kind of thing. Why would anyone who does not know have the power to control you? Now, anyone who knows the chemistry of this program knows that it's healthy. It's as simple as that. The program is totally healthy. So anyone who criticizes is uninformed and has an agenda. And you become subject to their agenda because you have not made yourself important enough to say, hold it. You want to criticize? Fine, I'll listen to you. But tell me in a concrete, simple way, why are you criticizing? You're not going to get an answer because anyone who understands the chemistry recognizes that the program is healthy. And if we did nothing else, I cannot tell you how many thousands and thousands of people have done this program and have lost weight and not gotten sick. Now, not one. Now, I'm excluding food allergies or autoimmune diseases, okay? And that makes no difference what it is. The program itself is healthy. So if they're criticizing, they have an agenda. And the agenda is to get you to listen to them. Now, if you care about yourself, and we'll talk about that in a minute, then you'll hear what they have to say, and you'll say, thank you. I heard what you have to say, and it really makes me feel good that you worry about me and are concerned that I'm doing this program. I can't tell you how good it feels to know that you care about me. You've calmed it down and you move on. And you don't get into the ping pong match of let me explain this and that. The second point is, what is it that you're still in the place where you're not comfortable with saying, I'm worthy? Why is your personal worth less than anyone else's? And the answer is habit patterns that have developed over your lifetime. Well, you're not Okay, did so. I took care of it. Thank you. Thank you all for the disruption. Now, the key here, if you don't love you, if you don't take care of you, what's going on? Obviously, some behavioral pattern was developed over a period of time, and you get up in the morning with someone that you're not happy with. And that's a problem because you can't escape that person. You can change your thinking. I'll give you a simple one. Commit to a week on the program. Take care of yourself in the process. Be scrupulous about it. Use the magic protocol, which will control those I want voices. And in 1 week, you'll be getting up in the morning with someone that you're prouder of because they're making you feel good. And when you realize that you're the one making you feel good, there's so much more upside. We're not being controlled then. It's a very strange world we live in. The most important thing in your world is you. Because if you are not the most important thing in your world, then what's going on? In that regard, we're all the same. So the key here is to understand that when I do things that make me feel good about me and are not detrimental, like sticking to the program because I know it works and I want to lose weight, and being able to ignore all those extraneous kinds of things, and recognizing then that in a week or two, I'm going to be that much closer to my goal. I'm going to like myself that much better because I'm that much closer to my goal, because I recognize I'm closer to my goal because of my own behavior, which is making me feel good because I feel better about being with myself who cares about me. And you know what's important? You always know the truth. It feels incredibly good to know that you're feeling good because you took care of yourself, and it feels so good being taken care of. Now, let's jump ahead. Why we're here. We're here because your behavior is controlled by habits that you've developed over a lifetime, which interfere with you achieving your goal. And what your goal was, you said, I want to weigh less. And you have to build on that. Why always you can't have this, you can't have that, you can't do this, you can't do that? In my household, We call this the pound-demic. It's no longer a secret. People all over have gained weight. And people are even beginning to talk about it. And you're here. So you want to learn about it too. And that's what we're doing right now. Food is food. The chemistry works. I like myself better. I'm teaching myself new things. I'm getting healthier. Now, here's another one. It's something I've talked about since the beginning. It's called the Chi Gong Breathing. It's incredibly powerful and healthy. Number one, in the breathing process, it alkalizes the body. Now, there's acidity basic and there's alkaline. The basic acidic leads to imbalance. Alkaline is healthy. If I do the breathing, number one, I'm going to alkalize my body because I'm going to be getting rid of more carbon dioxide. And then there are the other benefits. It's going to center me. It's going to focus me. It's going to relax me. And I'll tell you one more thing, and you don't have to accept it, but I'm telling you it's true. It's going to slow and reverse the aging process. Go read the research about meditation and things like that. You get up in the morning, you start the morning with some Chi Gong breathing and do it 3 or 4 times during the day. And you're going to see the difference. You're going to feel the difference. You're going to like the difference. And how about recognize you're going to be engaging in a behavior that not only is healthy for you, but makes you feel good. It changes your mood. But why don't we do it? Oh, I don't have time. Baloney, you don't have time. The only time I don't want you to do it is while driving your car. Because in my mind, it sort of simulates taking a nap in the middle of the day, and I want you to concentrate if you're driving. Aside from that, do it for 2 weeks and watch and see the difference in your physicality, in losing weight as well. Now, why are we here? Because the glass is, for some of you, it's half empty, and for some of you, it's half full. So it's a matter of perspective. Why is the glass half empty? You can give me 50 million different reasons. I can go back years ago to a 5th grade boy, and they brought him to me because he had run away. The first marking period, he didn't do very well, and his father beat the tar out of him. Second marking period, he didn't do well, and his father gave him the total and absolute silent treatment. Third mocking period, he ran away. When I finally got it out of him by calming him and relaxing him and trying to be helpful, he was terrified. The first time, his father beat the tar out of him. The second time, his father made him a total nonentity. And this time, his imagination went wild. He didn't know what was going to happen. Now, I've told you that all disease is imbalance in the body. We're out of balance. This kid had a learning disability. He didn't know how to control. It wasn't his, it was his physiology. His body was out of balance. And once we did the things that were necessary, he started to improve academically. He was no longer a problem in school because he was much safer inside his own body. Balance. And that's why we're here. The problem is, habit makes many of you find it extremely difficult to make yourself important enough to hear what's going on. It's perspective. Remember what I said to you? The baby is born with the ability to scream. You're born with the ability to survive. And if we acknowledge what's going on, you're not 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. You're adults. You have the capacity to make choices. Your choice was to say, I want to weigh less. Now, if that's your choice, then let's accept the fact that you also committed yourself to making changes. So stop and ask yourself, do I really want to weigh less? Now, if your answer is no, then I'll see you. Everything is fine. There's nothing wrong. You don't want to, so why should you do this? But if you want to weigh less, you have to make changes. And the changes are going to make you uncomfortable. But you recognize that because the discomfort is doing things that you're not used to doing. There are some people for them it seems so easy. They know how to talk, they know how to schmooze, they know how to do all that kind of thing. And you know one of the interesting things? We want to get close to that person because we hope by touching them or being close to them, some of what we see as their capabilities will rub off on us. We don't need to do that anymore. You have a path. 2 days milk, 2 days fruits and vegetables. 2 days milk, 2 days fruits and vegetables. What's the problem? Well, it makes me uncomfortable. Okay, so you're uncomfortable. What's the problem? I don't like being uncomfortable. I don't blame you. Are you going to have to do this forever? Well, you said no. I say it again. No, you're not going to have to do this forever. You're going to have to do this for the period of time that it takes you to lose the weight you want to lose. That's a fixed period of time. It's not exact, but it's a fixed period of time. Because I promise you a minimum of 15 pounds, only fat and total health every 30 days. There's no mystery. Come to me and give me a reason that it's not working for you. And what's the answer? Temptation, etc. I'm not important enough to do the things that I have to do to get me what I really want. Now, when we finish phase 1, now we've lost all the weight. Fantastic. What's next? I don't know. What's next? How about keeping it off? What the heck did you take it off for if you're not willing to keep it off? Well, what do I have to do? See, that's the wonderful thing. In phase 2, I will help you create a lifestyle that fits you. I have a lifestyle. I told you the one I chose when I was in Florida before I came back here north. And I did what I did. It was my lifestyle. Some people would agree with me. Some people won't agree with me. That's irrelevant. It worked for me. And so I did it. And now I can look at you and say, you see, I made some compromises, but I was totally conscious of them. I made myself important in my own life because I didn't want to sit here and be a hypocrite, closing the coat so you wouldn't see my belly. It's not there. It went. And yes, I did not do the program in the most orthodox way. What's the problem? Well, you didn't do the program in the orthodox way. Was it unhealthy? Did it have any negative impact on me? Was I concerned about the fact that I didn't lose 15 pounds every 30 days? I lost less. The answer was, I agreed to all of that. And it took me longer to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I like myself better for doing it that way because here I am and I'm healthy and I can look at you and say, that's phase 2. There's a little extra, but we're not going to talk about that now. And now that I've learned to keep it off, let's go to phase 3. And that is enjoying my life because now I'm eating how I eat, not what I eat. Do I control myself? Of course. Is it a strict regimen? No. Does it work? Yes. Do I have to get someone's permission? No. Do I feel good about it? Yes. So if it works for me, it is healthy, I feel good about it, I don't need to justify it, I better start looking for another problem. Because now that that has been addressed, I've got time now for other stuff. And one of the things that I continue to do is the Chi Gong breathing. Because what the Chi Gong breathing does is give me the relaxation, the focus, the mood, and the recognition that I'm slowing the aging process and alkalizing the body. And what does it take me? I don't do it every hour. I do it 3-4 times a day. Tell me you don't have 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to do it. This time, that time, whatever time. And yes, you're going to tell me my day is busy. And what are you busy with? You have no real time to do it, right? The answer is old times habits. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. Do you always get done everything that you need to get done? No, this comes up or that comes up. Oh, so that has precedence over you. You have a right to choose whatever you choose to choose. But acknowledge that you have that power and that you've made yourself worthy of choosing what's going to be good for you and going to make you feel good. So one of the keys, and I want you to recognize this, is you cannot do it passively. You have to do it proactively. And that means when you do the magic protocol, you have to verbalize. I'm doing this because this is what I want. And I know if I do the magic protocol, all these other issues are not going to exist, because once I've chosen to put the Tic Tacs in my mouth, the combination of flavors will not allow me to go off. So I got what I want. I don't want to go off. And I don't want to deal with all the could I, should I, will I, apologizing. I don't want to deal with it. And so I take back control. And the more I take back control, the better I feel about myself. I want to do more of this with you. There are not a lot of questions out there. The reason there are not a lot of questions is because people didn't post them. If we're not interacting, if we're not sharing, and it's private. When people put up their names, like Yvonne put up her name, then I say, hi, Yvonne. I didn't reveal any other information. And it's nice to know who I'm talking to. And you're talking to me if you communicate. But if you're not important enough in your own life to communicate what's going to teach you, help you grow, make you feel good, get what I'm saying? Let's continue to do this, and let's create. Now, one of the things that I'm Going to say again, if you do the Chi Gong breathing, within 2 weeks, you're going to feel the difference physiologically. Your mood is going to be better. Your attitude is going to be better. You're going to be more relaxed. You'll have better sleep. You're going to alkalize the body. It's going to slow and reverse the aging process. Talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in.